If you jump scare me, I actually get straight to
You
like,
get pissed.
I get angry. So if you were to do it, I don't punch people, but I will.
Don't scare Mel for no
Yeah.
reason. Have a good reason.
Yeah.
Halloween is the one time of year when children can safely go door to door asking strangers for candy, where haunted houses and zombie-filled mazes become the norm, and people of all ages get to dress up in costume, which is one of my favorite parts. By the end of summer, the candy and home good aisles at our local stores are flush with the color of orange and hints of brown and yellow. And endless previews play on TV filled with blood-curdling screams, gore, and eyes that are always watching.
I feel like you're about to tell a story.
Story time.
Movie. I feel like Halloween horror can be quite polarizing. Like, for example, we notice our friends mostly fall on either end of the spectrum. They either really hate it, like you, or really enjoy it and seek it out.
Like none of us here.
None of us.
Enjoy it, but I don't seek it out. Which got us wondering, why do people enjoy getting spooked? Can people feel pleasure from consuming horror? And are there any benefits?
There is an interesting article that we found from the Harvard Business Review titled The Psychology Behind Why We Love or Hate Horror. And it dives into the insights behind why humans seek out horror or why we like it. So the horror industry, by the way, is a fastly booming one. And I had to look this up because I was like, I can't be the only one that doesn't like horror. And I also believe for some reason that more people don't like horror than do. But of a statistic that of 1,000 Americans that were surveyed, 55% enjoyed horror. So more people than not enjoy horror.
Would you consider true crime horror? Because I feel like lately everyone loves listening to true crime podcasts. I've been slowly watching like the Netflix shows. So
I do. I think that's definitely horror.
I feel like that's more thriller. Unless there's some like gore aspect to it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's murder, it's a little horrific.
Maybe it toes the line.
It toes the line for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say though, I think when that stat is interesting, and when I think back to like my childhood, I feel like horror was much more popular among my friends when I was younger. So do you think it could be also an age thing or?
oh, that's true. Actually, I remember.
Or maybe culturally, because in Asian culture, I feel like there's like a little bit of reverence for like ancestors and like the idea of like dead or whatever. But in other cultures, it might be treated differently, and so that
Or
could
maybe
also
it's
affect.
like, I know there's a lot of like old Chinese movies that my mom used to watch where they had like the hopping ghost.
Yeah.
It was more funny than scary.
That's true.
So maybe that's why. Or there's always like a ghostly figure and it's
So it
not
freaks
like
you out
in
when you're little?
It's not in a scary way though. It's more in like a, oh, hello. Like,
Yeah.
how are you doing? Kind of
That's true.
way.
Like it's actually, yeah, I am not afraid.
They're more like spirits than ghosts.
Yeah. Because Jay, your theory, I would actually think that like if we were focused on ancestors, like the whole like the ancestor stuff, I would be less afraid because it feels familiar versus like I think in American culture, like the horror stuff,
It's more like gory and like,
and it's just freaky.
yeah.
That's true. I guess it could drive you either way, right?
So, based on this article, there are some biological reasons for why people like the horror genre. Okay. So, for one, it's a way to experience a mental and physical stimulation. So, either in negatively in the form of fear or anxiety, or positively in the form of excitement or joy. For example, when you watch a horror film, okay, and this is probably for people out there who actually enjoy horror, the point where you feel the most pleasure is the point where it is most fearful. Most pleasure comes from the most fear. So that to me, there's no excitement there for me at all. If anything, the feeling I get is wanting to hide. So
Yeah.
usually they say that fear ignites or releases some adrenaline or a surge of excitement or heightened sensations. But my heightened sensations is a hide.
Oh man, I feel like just that moment you just said got really twisted.
It's a little masochistic, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that word exactly. I won't pronounce it. But maybe this might be getting really dark. But I wonder if like what you just said, this is why people are so. Sometimes people are like fucked up in the head and enjoy. Like I'm not saying like if you enjoy horror, you're like fucked up. It's just like think of mass murderers or like people who do these horrific things. There has to be some association, right? So it allows us to imagine and place ourselves in a different reality. Like it's fantastical.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a sense of adventure and accomplishment. Like, for example, when you get through a haunted house, you're like, yes, I was able to accomplish going through something really scary. I could relate to the novel experiences a lot, but I didn't think horror would be underneath that type of thing.
Yeah. So the third biological reason for why some people find horror interesting is actually kind of along the lines when we talk about like true crimes or kind of these like more twisted psychological things. As a species, human beings are naturally curious, right? We want to, the idea of like getting to know yourself, of digging deep into your psyche, there's definitely something that we get from watching other characters portray maybe performing acts or thinking thoughts that you might have either had or like are dancing around and are curious to learn more about. There's like been a bunch of more like recent stuff like the Jeffrey Dahmer stuff where you were like, oh my God, how could someone commit such mass murder? I don't understand. But when you watch the series, you get to understand that person as like in their mind and why they might be the way they are. And so I think there's this natural like draw and kind of like a little bit of like, oh, it helps me understand myself better.
Interesting. Yeah, sometimes I feel like those shows make you want to empathize with the people more. I don't know how I feel about that though.
Maybe not empathize, but at least understand how someone can get to that point so that you can maybe try to either spot it, you know, in society or like within people, or know how to like on a social level, how do we prevent those things from happening?
Everyone becomes a detective.
That's true.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, or also just knowing things like isolation or like things like, you know, maybe if you spot certain family patterns, like there's all different things, but
I feel like with the whole psychological aspect, I do think about how when I watch a scary movie, I'm not really focusing on the movie. I'm thinking about there's someone that wrote this and directed this.
Oh, that's a good point too.
Like if I were an actress in this movie, I'd be afraid to be alone in the room with the person who wrote it. Can you imagine being like 2 a.m. and say you're like the janitor? This person's just continuing to write their script and you're like, oh shit, I need to get the fuck out of here.
You know, I just thought of, I don't know if it's horror, but I just thought of Verity by Colleen Hoover.
Yeah.
Oh,
That will, I won't say too much, but that will, you literally be like, what the F is she thinking?
Yeah,
That's
but I'm
true.
like, how did you even come up with this? You know,
You go to
the
a
human mind
place.
is capable of some
You go to
crazy things.
I actually thought what Jana was saying was like totally different because she's saying like, oh, you could go into the minds of like these people. I was like, I thought you talk about like, for example, when I watch a scary movie, I'm just like, oh, I wouldn't escape my house that way. Like it's a different type of experience. I don't know.
like you start to come up with alternative plans of
Yeah, so
like what I would do in this situation. So I mean, we've got into the reasons why some people would enjoy horror.
Yeah.
Do you ladies personally? I know you touched upon a little bit of no, but like, yeah. Do you enjoy horror?
I feel like if anything, I mentioned earlier, I probably enjoy thrillers, but that's a completely different genre. Like when I think about horror, it's the subgenres are probably the gore category, kind of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or the paranormal activity type things where it's like Carrie or The Ring or The Exorcist, which I have seen before and I keep telling myself never watch scary movies again. There's like I do not enjoy it. I think that's pretty clear, but there are different levels I've noticed of like how I watch scary movies. It's a full body experience. It starts from going from like most scary to least. It's when you hear the crescendo of the music, right? I feel like a lot of times they try to have you focus on like the events that are playing out and you want to pay attention, you want to watch more. I listen to the music because I know what they're trying to do is build it up. And once I start hearing that small build up, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with my body? So if I'm really scared, I will actually like suffocate myself with a pillow. Basically, I'll like just like smash my face into a pillow. If I'm a little bit more brave, I will use my hands. So
you can still see between your fingers?
Basically to like create a very specific hole or something with my hands. If I'm a little bit more brave, I'll use my knees.
What?
Like putting my knees up and then opening my legs up just a little bit, but then you see a full vertical of the screen, right? So you're seeing more of the screen. And then if I am more brave than that, I use my toes.
Oh my god!
Does anyone else watch horror movies like this? I'm curious.
Maybe like 2 out of the 5.
We should do a horror movie night because I want to see. All the different.
The toes are because then you see more of the screen, and then you kind of like open up your toes to see like try to see. I don't know. But anyway, it's a full body experience for me to watch scary movies, and I should just not.
So you also just don't like it.
I just don't. Yeah, I just don't like it. But sometimes I end up being in a theater watching one. I'm like, why?
I actually never watched a scary movie with you.
That's right.
We have to do this.
And you won't.
I don't know if I don't know actually.
There was one like friend's birthday Airbnb thing. I think you started watching something with friends and I was just not in that room. I was like, why would you guys do this?
I guess my answer is a little bit different. There are certain subsects of horror that I really enjoy. And mostly it's the psychological thrillers because I love human psychology and I love understanding like why someone would do this. And usually a good horror movie or those ones that really get into the character, that I enjoy. But anything paranormal, anything like mass, lots of gore, like Texas Chainsaw, not my jam. Even zombie stuff, like it just, because that is very like
Visually too much.
visually grotesque, and yeah, so like that kind of stuff I don't really enjoy. But the psychological thrillers and the ones that I think are done, I mean psychological horrors, which I guess maybe borderline thriller a little bit, those ones I do really love. But I also, for when I found myself in situations where I'm like with friends and watching something a little bit horrific, then I will also I'll close my eyes, and then because of the music for horror movies, you plug your ears too. Because even if you can't see, a lot of horror is like the audio. So if you don't want to, then just plug your ears.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned zombies. So I used to play Call of Duty a lot by myself in the dark in my room.
And that didn't scare you?
I think the competitive aspect of me
That took over.
the fear.
You gotta
of
win.
the
No
zombies.
time to be scared.
I don't know. I do remember being very scared though in my room, but I would still continue playing. It's like kind of fucked up.
I'd be afraid.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I was too, but I
Oh my
also
gosh.
wanted to.
The competition kind of like took over. Yeah. How about you, Mel?
I do enjoy getting scared, but there's has to be limitations. Like for Halloween, I would love going to like haunted houses with my friends. But when it comes to haunted houses, it has to be like fake. Like it can't be like, oh, this place it's like there's spirits here. Like if there's any realness to
Aren't
it,
they all fake? I see.
but like I can't. So it has to be like the one at Universal Studios.
So you have to directly know that it's like not real, that it's created, that it's like fantasy.
It has to, yeah, for sure. And if we're talking about movies, I think like you, Janet, I also enjoy the thriller aspect. When it gets too gory, I'm not into gore. Like,
So we're all in the same, on
Yeah.
the same boat.
I don't
Yes.
like seeing body parts being cut up. That's just not my jam. But I do enjoy like Insidious or like The Conjuring sometimes. But I think I just like feeling like the jump scare sometimes. It feels like a ride for me.
I know what thumbnail or post we should post for this social.
What?
The one with you being jump scared
Oh,
by
yeah.
Jason. There's one. This is like before I feel like people started posting things on Instagram. It was
Yeah.
a while ago.
It was like
maybe 10 years ago.
2015.
But it was a hilarious jump scare. So,
Yeah, people like to scare me because I think my reaction's really big.
but did you enjoy it?
Not that one.
Okay.
Because I'm just like,
Well, you were
walking-
laughing after it though, right?
But yeah, because it's, I guess. But I think if I'm purposely intentionally, I like to be more intentional with like horror. Like I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm gonna go here. If you just scare me out of nowhere, then I get pissed. It's a different. It's a different. It's a different.
I thought you
kind of
were
horror.
opening the doors for me to just
No.
jump scare you whenever.
Actually, if you jump scare me, I actually get straight.
you
to, like,
get pissed.
I get angry. So if you were to do it, I would literally. I don't punch people, but I will. But if we're going
don't
to,
scare Mel for no
Yeah.
reason. Have a good reason.
yeah. But if we're just going to haunted house, I think it's fine. Like it's just the thriller component, which is what I enjoy. I'll share more about my like. I do similar things to you when I watch movies, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll share later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so clearly all of us kind of don't like horror, but Halloween is very much associated with horror and fear and frightening things. So do you even like Halloween?
Yeah.
Which is coming up real soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm just overall a very festive person. Like I like Halloween, Thanksgiving, it's just holidays to me. I think back in the day I enjoyed dressing up. You know, be a little thoughty, you know?
Oh.
Back in the day, like maybe like
What are you back in
Wait,
the day?
how
like
back in the
last
day? 'Cause
year?
I'm thinking like elementary school when I have memories of Halloween.
Oh.
But you're thinking like high school.
okay, we
College?
went.
I mean,
sc-
or younger.
I was definitely not a thoughty girl in elementary school. I'm thinking like high school, college. Like it was like your excuse to be like little like, ooh, Halloween clubbing.
Where
Like
were you last year?
I wore your costume because I didn't have one.
Wait,
I
what
was
was it?
Lola Bunny. That was not
Okay,
thoughty.
not thoughty. It was a basketball.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
jersey.
But I just like the whole idea like of celebrating, even though it's not really a celebration, it's just like a themed activity.
Yeah.
I like the candy. And just the decor. Like whenever I see houses decorated or like you walk in Target and there's stuff, it just makes you kind of happy.
Yeah, yeah.
I would agree. I think I love the holidays, and so I feel like Halloween or any holiday kind of just unites people when we already feel so divided. So even Halloween, right? Like going down the street, seeing like pumpkins on street corners and kids dressing up and adults getting creative. Like that's all fun to me. The candy aspect is something I still I held on to. I'm like, I also love that very much.
Yeah.
Now that I am 35, I feel like on average I've probably gone trick-or-treating more than the average adult has. So it's a quick story. Back in college freshman year,
You're thoughty.
I was not
What
thought.
was your costume?
I don't remember. I was probably like a devil or something. I don't know.
A sexy devil.
Probably. But on Halloween day, I went trick-or-treating.
What?
As a as a college freshman?
As a college freshman, we went around the outskirts of the campus, and I didn't realize that all of the juniors and seniors lived in the outskirts of campus.
Oh my God. So you are here trick-or-treating.
So I brought some friends. I was like, let's go get candy. And then we ended up bringing back just a bunch of beer cans because they were all having parties. And they're like, oh, you want some beer? I'm like, I don't think I can. I'm like, I'm a freshman, but okay. And so that's, yeah. That
You
was,
came back with alcohol instead of
came
candy.
back with alcohol. But
what?
this just shows how much I love trick-or-treating. And then when I moved
Or getting free stuff.
Yeah.
that too. Or when I moved here 10 years ago, my little cousins were 6 and 8 years old. They were my reason to trick or treat. And then my sister had kids. They were my reason. Now I have a kid. So I'm going to be trick or treating with him till like he's 18 probably. And I'm very excited for that. I already have this we went to the 99-cent store and I found this little jack-o'-lantern bucket for him.
It's very cute.
And it's so it was $2.99. I was kind of like, why is it not 99 cents? But then we found there was like a small light on the bottom, and there's a light, so
it's like
it
a
justified it.
jack-o'-lantern.
It justified it.
Damn.
The price.
I like how this story progressed. I do want to add one more thing.
Yeah.
For Halloween, I also enjoyed the countdown of Halloween movies, like
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Disney Twitches with the Tia and Tamir Mowry. Like,
Yes.
the
My
Disney
sister and I watched
movies.
that a lot. And then Hocus Pocus,
Hocus Pocus one,
was
yeah.
another one of those.
So yeah, I just wanted, and then you watch Harry Potter. Like it's just like it's a vibe.
Yeah. I definitely have to agree. I think the holiday and the celebration aspect of Halloween, I definitely love. And for me, it's also a nostalgia thing. So that's why when you're like thoughty costume, I was like, Halloween didn't stand out to me very much in like high school or college, but it was like when I was in elementary school. Because like my cousins would come over and then we would like, dress up and we go trick-or-treating or we'd watch like movies. Or I had like one friend who would do like sleepovers around Halloween. And then we would watch like like Jason, Friday the 13th. It's like the old school movies, and it's scary to watch them, but with your friends, your sleeping bags and stuff, like that was like it's like a memory thing.
That's very cute, actually.
Janet's costume was really, really good last year.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
Yeah, you weren't Dee Dee.
She was Dexter.
You were Dexter.
Dexter from
Yes.
Dexter's
Yeah,
Laboratory.
Janet won the costume contest. Yeah, that was really good. Halloween is just around the corner, and what can be scarier to a parent than when you're having the greatest day ever? You're walking down a sunny path, pushing your baby or strolling next to your toddler, and then you hear and smell the most gut-wrenching essence of a little human being. To all the parents out there, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, the ugh moment that we've all been through. Yes, I am talking about a blowout. With Pampers Swaddlers, you can rest assured that this diaper will prevent up to 100% of leaks, even blowouts. This diaper has a new blowout barrier, which is an innovative back pocket built into this diaper to help prevent those messy leaks. Avoid an unexpected scare this Halloween and get on with your sunny fall stroll. Fear no leaks with the new and improved Pampers Swaddlers, dermatologist approved by the Skin Health Alliance, hypoallergenic and free of parabens and latex. For trusted protection, trust Pampers, the #1 pediatrician recommended brand.
So going back into the pleasure from horror, Mel, you had mentioned that you enjoy haunted mazes and like haunted houses, but only if you understand and know and confirm that it's fake, right? So in psychology, they call this a protective frame. And it's basically, there's like 3 types of protective frames that can allow someone to actually enjoy horror. One is that you feel physically safe. 2 is that, like Mel, you know that it's imagined. You know that it's not real, that it's just a story, and you can psychologically detach yourself from what is happening. The third protective frame that can allow you to enjoy and find pleasure from horror is you feeling confident that in that horrible situation, you have it handled. You don't feel like you're threatened. You're like, okay, there's a zombie. I know how to take out the zombie. There's a vampire. I know how to like whatever. So either you feel like physically safe. So say maybe you're like behind a wall and you're watching a room of stuff happening. Then you're like, oh, I can find pleasure from that horror because I don't feel in danger. Or it's like, oh, I know this haunted house is fake. or like, hey, I'm in one of those like escape rooms, but like I know that I can beat the thing that whatever.
I find that really fascinating because it makes me realize like how it's like the framing of my pleasure enjoyment of horror I need to have certain things there in order for me to enjoy it. Like again, like I think when Helen's talking about like I like watching like the movies between your fingers, I was like, I only can watch scary movies if I have a pillow that I could just block the screen real quick. If I had the subtitles on so I could see ominous music playing. I was like,
That's actually a good, that's always a cue.
It's like, oh shit. And I have to watch it during the daytime. And even like sometimes Ray be like, let's watch a scary movie. I was like, no, the sun's gone. Like I can't watch it now because I know I'll have a nightmare. Or if it's like maybe like nearing towards evening, like people like to turn off the lights to get in the mood. I was like, all the lights have to go on. Like I just have to feel like light or like so
like it has to be the opposite. Everything has to like balance out the horror.
Yeah, because it makes me feel like it's like pushes the narrative that this is all fake. But if it's like all dark, then
too real.
I feel like my well, luckily Philip does not like scary movies. He's probably more scared than I.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's true. Because you guys went to like a haunted house, and I just hear him say, "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit," the whole time.
Yes. We had to like hold on to Janet instead the whole time. But thank you, Jay.
Oh my God, I'm the worst at those things. I'm the worst.
You're better than a lot of people.
We were just a hot tangled mess. So walking through.
My protective frame, I think, would be in the context of haunted houses. I need to connect with and humanize with the actors, or connect with the actors and humanize them. Like every time I go into a haunted house, I have to ask them questions. I will be like, yo, how many times did you pop out of that hole? Or like, are these flashing lights like, hurting your eyes? Do you get bathroom breaks? And then I think I've asked once, like, how much do you make as a seasonal actor here? Because I think this was when I just graduated college and I was curious because I heard they make a lot of money. So
Did they answer you?
There was one time where a guy was he like completely let loose. He was like, yeah, I'm tired. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can go back. Like, you don't have to scare me. I need to do that to just, even though I know that they're actors and it's all fake for some reason, I just need to humanize them. And then once I like humanize one of them, I'm okay with the rest of the way.
That's funny.
Wait, that makes
but
sense.
If you're into haunted mazes, don't go behind Helen because
Yeah,
she's going to be
I'll
trying to
ruin
have
it
a
for you.
conversation.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. Speaking of protective frame in haunted houses, I feel like one thing we talk about is like, what is the order you go in?
Oh, would you
Who's
rather
first?
be
Middle?
front,
Obviously, it
middle?
wants to be middle, but would you rather be first or last?
That's a hard one.
Because if you're if you're behind, they're chasing you. If you're
Yeah.
front, you'll see what's coming up ahead.
I'd rather be last.
Why?
I think last because then I can snuggle my head into someone's back.
but
if
then your
someone
back
grabs
is
you?
like,
Well, they
yeah.
can't touch you.
Exposed.
They're not supposed to touch you. They can't touch you. They can't touch you.
I don't
That's
know.
true. I think if that rule were in place, but without that rule, I think I might be okay with going in front and then just like covering my face and.
I'm getting like chills.
No, I know, me too. That's why I got really intense. They can't touch you. They can't touch you.
I think I would choose the back.
For the same reason, right?
Because I think I'd be too hesitant to like go. I would slow us down in the front.
I would just push through.
Yeah.
just go like,
Okay.
I never heard Janet scream, like being afraid. Okay.
Me neither.
We're not doing. And I was like, does this conversation lead to us going? I don't like haunted mazes. So
Actually, I've never heard Janet scream in a scared way either.
I think you guys have heard me.
No. Anyways,
Okay,
It's
we'll
not
see
an
what this Holly
invitation
one.
to scare me.
Yeah.
I said Holly one. We'll see this Halloween.
so obviously, like, I really enjoy, or I enjoy like watching scary movies and being like, there's some pleasure, I guess, from it. But I'm wondering if there's any benefits to consuming scary entertainment. Because, like you said earlier, the entertainment in horror is like booming, right? There's 3 things we found out. The first thing is that it's a catalyst for falling in love. Like co-experiencing horror can add to the excitement we feel towards one another. Like if you think about it back in the day, like those old teen romance movies are like, oh, I'm gonna take her to watch a scary movie. But why? It's like they could
So you can protect her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a reason to touch.
Exactly. The second thing, it's a conduit for social bonding with friends and family, linking to oxytocin. Fuck. I always get the scientific definitions. Linked to oxytocin, a hormone often released in frightening situations and increases feelings of closeness and affinity within a group, which is probably why like horror nights at Universal or like Not Scary Farm is such a thing where all your friends go to.
Yeah. Or like the sleepovers that I had when I was younger, watching horror movies with your friends.
Or like they make you do Bloody. Is it Bloody Mary?
Oh, Bloody Mary. Oh my gosh.
Is it called Bloody Mary?
Yes. Or have you guys ever done the light as a feather, stiff as a bone?
I've heard of it, but no. Have
Or like
you
the
tried
Ouija
that?
board. It's
Ouija
like a
board. Yeah.
it's like a
We have
collective
tried.
Were
experience.
you lifted?
No. No. I've never. Well, I can't. I don't quite remember. I just remember there was a period where that was like really popular at sleepovers. You would have someone lay down, and then there would be like all the other girls circle around that person's
God.
body, and you put only like 2 fingers on each hand underneath a person. So there's no way you could lift them up.
Okay.
And then everyone chants, "Light as a feather, stiff as a bone. Light as a feather, stiff as a bone." And then that person's supposed to float up.
I'm scared.
I know. That made me more scared. No, never tried that. But Ouija board, yes. Which
I haven't tried Ouija board.
I'm kind of down to try. So you see how like there's
Maybe we
like
should.
all these activities are like with friends.
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
bonding experience. And then there's something called a post-horror relaxation. So especially after a happy ending, triggers releases of endorphins and a sense of relief, relaxation. So after you watch a horror, like a scary movie, you're like, thank God, I finished
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Whatever happened to the character is like good.
Or like when you make it out of the maze, right?
Exactly.
It's like, oh, thank God I like survived. And
Yeah.
you feel like accomplished kind of.
Yes.
yeah. That I think that's definitely true. I mean, going back to like the haunted house thing, I remember like holding on to Janet. Like I probably gave you a bruise. I don't know, like for sure. But I feel like amongst us three, we're not very touchy people with each other.
Yeah.
You know, I remember one time you said to me like, I feel like we're not really big huggers with each other.
But you guys always hug me after we leave. And I think I said, I was like, I'll see you guys next week.
I think I'm much more touchy, maybe with like other girlfriends too. And
Really?
I wonder why.
I'm a hugger. I'm used
Yeah,
to
I'm a
hugging.
slapper.
A slapper.
Yes,
And a
you
hair
are. Yes,
whipper.
you are. But I was holding on to Janet for my dear life, and I do remember getting out of that and thinking to myself, if that was a simulation, I would go through it like through life in this way with Janet, because I mean you weren't there that day, but like that's what it made me feel. So I do feel like we got closer. I don't know if you did to me, but you probably like, dang, I'm gonna like dump her. I'm not gonna use her in scary situations. She's gonna run away from me. But with you, I'm like, yeah, I would trust Janet.
That's very sweet. Actually, I'm curious, which of your friends, if you had to go through a scary maze situation or a haunted house, which of your friends would you choose? Tag them in the comments. Because that does say a lot about, you got to think strategically about.
This is so great. I'm happy you guys had that moment. I just thought of a funny activity. I think would be really funny. We should go to haunted house, put all our friends' names in a hat, and 2 people pull 2, and those pair have to go, just to see how they would react to the situation.
Oh, and how they partner.
Yeah.
And how they team to get through.
Because imagine like you pair like Phil and someone else is like equally as scared.
Me and Phil.
But I want to
pushing each other in front of
yeah. I actually would just want to see that in general.
It is cute that experiencing something like this can make you closer to a person. Do you recall ever experiencing something scary with a love interest, and if anything developed from that?
Yes.
Yeah?
I actually was surprised. At first I was like, nah. And I like dig really deep into my memories. I remember, I think it was either in high school or a little bit after, but we have a theme park in the Bay Area called like Great America. And there's always like our horror night or week. And I went with a couple of friends. And I think there's one point where I was like, we're going through a maze, and I don't know if I grabbed him first, but there's a hand that stuck out, and then I grabbed his hand. So he's like leading me through like the theme park or some like the one of like the mazes there. And I remember being like, oh shit. Like it is a moment for you to like, it's an excuse to touch. It's like there's like subtle flirting. Like, I'm scared. You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And you know, to this day, nothing happened.
But it was only in that isolated situation.
Well, we had like, we're flirting here and there, but like it was just another excuse to like take our flirtation to a physical, like holding hands. And like when you're in high school, like holding hands is such a big deal.
Yeah. Or the fact that he was there for you, of all your friends, when you're scared in your time of need.
Honestly, it wasn't even like that. It was more like, oh yeah, you're near me. Oh my heck. You know, it's kind of like
You positioned yourself well.
it's kind of like this is a really bad comparison, but you know when you're at the club and the bar and someone like the guy's leading you through the crowd, it's just the same thing. What? It's not?
I see.
No?
I see.
I can kind of see the similarity. Yeah.
You just want to be led.
I just want to like
She wants to be chosen and led.
yeah. I don't want to have my hand held.
Aw, someone hold Mel's hand. That's
Have you done anything scary with Ray yet? Other
What?
than movies?
Just movies.
Well, Halloween is coming up. Maybe
We'll
it's-
see.
How about for you, Jay?
So actually, my last relationship, I remember. I think it was like our third week of dating. We were ordering pizza one night. We were gonna watch a movie,
that sounds
and then we just landed on horror, and then we went through a marathon of like 4 or 5 horror movies, and it was really fun. It was like, I mean, once again, it's like the protective frame. I knew it's like fake. You're safe together. You're having pizza and wine, and so that definitely, I think, and it like makes you a little bit closer. But I also remember that one like maze that we went through. I was dating someone else, and we were going through like the maze together, and when we came out, we had a big group of friends, and I distinctly remember that he like kind of wandered away with our group of friends to like get drinks for everyone or something. But in that moment of feeling like this is like a really like horrific or like scary area, I felt like abandoned. So it can go both ways. Like being in a scary situation could bring you closer together, right? When you're like, someone is like extending their hand, and it's something that is like not meant to be. He's just like, oh, I'm helping the friends get drinks. But I was like, but then I'm by myself in the corner.
I think I know who you're talking about.
When you guys were there, I just ran out to him. Like, give me a drink.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. I think we just want to feel connected and protected by both our romantic relationships and our friendships in scary moments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How about you, Helen? Do you have any like memories of?
Her romantic thing is Phil yelling in her ear. Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Is Phil the type to push you in front of the ghost or like the people?
No, I think in the moment where we actually walked through the maze together, he was the one that kind of led me. So he still showed a little bit, but he was saying a lot of being very expressive of his fears. So
Yeah. Like I sent the videos and I was like, whoa.
he actually looks. That's the difference between him and me. He looks, and I will barely peek out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he'll look.
So I got chills.
A little PSA that we're getting close to the end of the year. So, if you haven't visited your doctor for your annual physical yet, now is the time to make an appointment. And hey, if it's been more than a year, because, life happens, you move to new cities, you change jobs, get new insurance plans, and if you're finding that you don't have a doctor to call and make an appointment with, you can check out ZocDoc. It's the free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We are talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition you're searching for. And my favorite part, their docs all have verified reviews from actual, real patients. No bots. I use them and you should too. Go to ZocDoc.com/ABG and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/ABG. ZocDoc.com/ABG.
Another hypothetical scenario. If you are dating someone who actually loves horror, 55% of Americans out there, if they love horror, would you actually adjust your horror consumption for them?
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've ever dated someone who is like really into horror.
I'd be like, why?
I mean, I had friends when I was growing up because there's like, just the way that some people love like romantic comedies, some people love horror. I think that would be really hard for me because I feel like if they're really into horror movies, they might be into other things that I don't know.
Like what, Janet?
I was like, yeah.
Like what?
I don't know.
Like BDS, what's it called? BDSM.
I was thinking like a beady-eyed fish. Where are you going
I
with
went
that?
sexual. I'm so sorry, but yeah, I went there.
Actually, yeah. I wonder if there is a link to post-horror film watching leading to more sexual activity.
More creative sexual
Because of the connectedness we're talking about. And,
Oh, yeah. You feel closer.
I'm not into it, by the way. Just wanted to clarify, just.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with like, I do love the occasional experience of watching horror movies with a partner, but if they were like really into it, I think that might be kind of hard for us to.
How about for you?
Yeah.
I will say the protective framing, is that what it's called? Protective frame has to be up. Like Ray actually does enjoy it. I'm like, okay, can we watch it like at 1 p.m. when the sun's like blaring? So I'll try to.
Blaring.
Blazing.
Blazing?
Yeah. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Blaring
Blaring
would
is
be
a
a
sound.
Wow.
Oxytocin.
I said it right. It's
That's
like
true, you
oxytocin or something, you know? But yeah, I would be like, okay, I would watch it, but I have to be like, there's certain like preferences I would have. That was it.
But what if he wanted to watch it like every week? Like this was
I was
his
like, then
thing.
you're on your own. I'll watch Gossip Girl upstairs or something.
Okay, but you would still want to make it work.
Sure. Yeah, it's not. It's
It's not. It's not a
not
deal breaker.
Unless he was like, let's reenact. I'm like, no. That's what I'm just like, no.
If that were the case for me, I would have to probably understand, like, if there is, on a molecular level, if there is such a big difference between us, and like, why are you so into the horror? Is it going to come out in different ways of your personality, in arguments, in the future? You're going to kill me. Like, I would need to understand all of this. If it is, for example, just seeking, like we mentioned earlier, the thrill or the excitement or some level of like a surge of adrenaline, similar to if you were to jump out of a plane, right? Then I'd be like, okay, I can understand that, you know, once in a while, and only if you get it from like media, right? Nothing in real life or physical or whatever it is. I would need to understand that. And then once that is confirmed, I think I would be down to fall asleep next to them while they watch a movie. So I wouldn't be watching.
Gotcha.
That's my compromise. But yeah. Okay, there are some factors or traits that kind of define a person that does like horror. So for example, someone who is open to experiences. That makes sense, real or imagined. Another one is higher sensation seeking traits. So a stronger need to experience thrill and excitement. That makes sense. The one I find kind of more interesting is that those who are less empathetic enjoy horror more because they tend to feel less negatively about the distress felt by the characters in a movie.
I think that's why horror stress me out so much because I look at like, especially if it's done well, you build up a relationship with the character. It just like kills me when someone like gets hurt or dies or something like that. So I just feel very like, no. Or like if an animal gets hurt or like, you know, then it's just like us. It's just like so much stress.
Yeah, same.
Did I read? I think I might have misunderstood that comment because I was thinking you're saying that people there's a pattern that like maybe people who are less empathetic enjoy horror more. I'm wondering because their sensation to feel is so low, they need something so intense to feel. You know what I mean?
I can see that too.
Yeah.
I mean, for those of you out there, let us know if that is accurate or not. One other one, gender and age. On average, younger folks enjoy horror movie, which along the lines of what you said earlier, perhaps when we're younger, we did enjoy it more. I think now when we're older, it's just life is too real.
That's true.
Maybe that's
I got enough
why.
horror in my real life.
Yeah, or like we have more responsibilities and people to protect and like elders to think about.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that plays in my psyche. Men more than women. There may also be differences in the aspects of the horror each gender enjoys. Women may enjoy better horror movie with a happy ending, and men may better enjoy one where there's more terrifying acts.
Well, I guess that wraps our conversation today about horror as we are approaching Halloween. Thank you all for joining us in this conversation. We're curious what everyone's Halloween plans are. And maybe if you're inspired by our convo, you're going to seek out a haunted house, a maze maybe. Let us know in the comments. And maybe I think we should do a horror movie night.
I want to go haunted house.
We'll do both.
Okay.
I want to go trick-or-treating.
At a haunted house.
Actually, yeah. Of these three activities, which do you think you're going to be doing? Either going to a haunted house, trick-or-treating, or doing a scary movie marathon. Give us a 1, 2, or 3 in the comments. And with that, we will catch you all in the next episode.
Bye.